Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all well. Today we're back with another review video. Normally, if you've been here before, you know this, I like to do two separate videos on one show. This time round we're not, we're just doing the review. We're going to talk all things Starter for 10. So if you want to know my thoughts and feelings on this show, stick around and we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. So let's discuss the elephant in the room. There's a lot of like finger air quotes so far in this video, but let's get into it. Normally for a show, like I just said before the intro music came in and everyone was like, ooh, jazzy, which is what I think every time I put it in all seriousness. Anyway, moving on. For every show that I see, I like to normally do 2 separate videos. Number 1, we have the Nervous Guide. The Nervous Guide is usually everything you need to know before you go into a show. So that's things like content warnings, sensory warnings, view from seat, the merch I've bought, basically anything you might be a bit nervous about going to a show for, or before going to a show, what you might be a bit anxious about seeing or hearing or feeling. That's what the Nervous Guide is. This second video, which is technically the first and only video for this show, is the review. Review is always put in inverted commas because at the end of the day I'm in no way professional. I just like to talk about theatre, and sometimes I go to a theatre alone and therefore you don't get the chat afterwards of, oh, this person was good, oh, I wasn't sure about this, oh, let's talk about everything. So I started creating these videos. Now, like I've said about 3 times already in this video, for this show I'm only doing the review. That is because at the time of filming, this show has got 3 days left. At the time of uploading, hopefully, as long as everything goes the way I want it to, it will have the Saturday left. It closes on the 1st of November. I nearly said October because this month has been ridiculously long. But yeah, it's closing on the 1st of November. I wanted this video to go up as soon as possible, but I'm here, there and everywhere, guys, and so hopefully it did do what I wanted it to do. We shall see. But enough of me and the situations we are in. Let's talk all things Starter for 10. Now this show for me, which is currently until the 1st at the Birmingham Rep, was one that I had on my list of shows I wanted to see but didn't know how I was going to fit them in. For most shows I see, I say that I like to go in quite blind. I have never been blinder. I've never known less about a show before stepping into it than I did with Starter for 10. Although I say that, but it is a line away. So this musical is based on, or talks about, a TV show, University Challenge. It is based on a book by David Nichols, and it also has a film. Now I have the book, I've never read it, controversial, sorry, and I have watched the film. So I knew what was going to happen, and it's one of those shows and one of those stories that you start watching it, you know how it's going to end. It's one of those kind of stories. I say that like it's not the only thing that I ever read. I'm very much a person who reads a book and knows how it's going to end as the characters are first introduced. What can I say? But saying all that, as the only things I knew about the production were that they had 2 different separate runs at the Bristol Old Vic, one being I believe last year and then one being this year before it moved into Birmingham. I didn't know what to expect, what kind of music was going to be, etc. let's talk about that. So this show has books and lyrics by Emma Hall and Charlie Parnham. Music and lyrics are by Hattie Carmen and Tom Rasmussen. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this show is directed by Charlie Parham. Again, hopefully pronounce that all correctly. So it's like an elite little group who have created this show, and the whole show you follow the main character of Brian, of which there is not enough Brians in musical theatre, but that's a story for a different day. You follow Brian through his journey to be, 1, at university, and 2, to be part of a university challenge group or team. Team is a better word. As always, the story is not he gets there, he wins. Sorry, spoiler alert. But it's not plain sailing. There is highs, there is lows. There is a moment where you think he's lost it all, and then we have the happy ending. But this show has laughs. The music in it is actually quite catchy and fun. There is, I think, 5 songs available to listen to on Spotify. I believe they call it like the Bristol something. Please hold, please hold, please hold. Starter of 10, the Bristol mixtape. So they put an EP of 4 songs, 2 which I'm quite the fan of, just from a listen in the show yesterday and a listen today. But yeah, the music was catchy, the story itself was humorous and heartfelt. The choreography in it, which was done by Alexandra Sarmiento, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, was fun and well orchestrated. Why do I always talk about the choreography when I know nothing of dance? It's like watching Strictly. I also wanted, on the creative side, to give a shout out to the set and costume designer, which was Lee Newby. The costumes were very much of the 80s period that this show is set in. So shoulder pads, big hair, a lot of vibrant colours, you name it. In the 80s they had it in this show. And the set itself, obviously it had the elements that you kind of associate with University Challenge, like the 2-layer seating and such, but there was also throughout the show a few hidden doorways, windows, and places that people, well, one person namely, popped out of, and I kept just like staring into the back wall, or one of the back walls. It was more of a mid wall, but one of the walls, which is where all the holes and doors came from, and I was staring at it when it was just like all closed up. You can't tell it was there. It was very cleverly put together and I really enjoyed it. And I enjoy a good set. Moving on to the cast. The cast, I feel like a lot of people were at that show because of one of the named on most things cast, that person being Mel Giedroyc. So let's talk about her first. Mel plays 2 named parts. I will explain what I mean in a minute. She is Brian's mum, who's got the name of, I believe, I want to say Janet, and I don't want to ruin it, so we're going to check. Good job I did, because it's Irene. Irene is Brian's mum. You get introduced to Brian's mum quite early on in the story, and Mel also plays the role of Julia Bland, who is described as like the second in command or the right hand to Bamba Gascoigne, who is the big person and the main presenter of University Challenge. both of those characters are completely different to each other. You get the heartfelt moments with Irene and with Brian throughout mostly Act 2, and it was nice to have those moments with Mel and the person who is Brian, who I will talk about in a second. And then you have Julia Bland, who is a more comical character. I'm not sure if it was designed to be as funny or if it's just Mel's overall comedic genius that made it more funny. I did say she has 2 named parts. Mel also occasionally just walks like through the set, like from one wings to the other wings. She'll just do some kind of walk. It was quite amusing, and she definitely is one of those people who, if you see her on stage, you're gonna watch and see what she does. And it gave a few moments of just like funny things and funny situations. So yeah, there we go. Moving on from Mel. Moving on to Brian. Brian is played by Adam Bregman. Brian is a lovable, geeky character who, as all lovable geeks do, gets kind of dragged down a certain path because he falls in love with a very beautiful girl who may be slightly above his station, but it's musicals and it's allowed and it's going to happen. I enjoyed the character of Brian. Obviously, like I said initially, Brian goes through quite an emotional turmoil. Again, Act 2. Something happens in Act 2 that just lowers him and his self-esteem and makes him see sense. And it was nice to watch the whole character arc of Brian through the story. And I also really enjoyed that Adam as Brian had amazing vocals and also occasionally just got involved with the ensemble dances. Like the rest of the cast had left, it was just the ensemble having a go, and it's just Brian at the front having a boogie. Like, fair play. I love a boogie and Brian. Try saying that quickly 5 times. Moving on, we have the roles of Bamba Gascoigne and Brian's dad. I think Brian's dad's called Dave. Dave. Everyone loves a Dave. That, or they are both played by the one, the only Stephen Ashfield. I last saw Stephen at the Rep in Becoming Nancy, so it was a joy to see him again, this time taking on a completely different role. Bamba Gascoigne kind of pops up throughout the show in places and things you wouldn't expect him to be in. And I don't know if it's because Stephen also plays Brian's dad, who passes away quite early on in the show's story, that you kind of get that link between Brian's dad and also Bamba Gascoigne and being that familial link. I don't know if that's what they're going for, but it was a joy to see Stephen on the stage again. Just like with Mel, I always keep one eye on Stephen throughout the show, because there are just moments that, like, even an exit off a stage can be done with such flair but also such hilarity, and I love it. Also, I wanted to give honourable mentions to the 3 other members of the quiz team. We have Lucy, who is played by Miracle Chance. You had Alice, who is played by Imogen Craig, and also Patrick, who is played by Will Jennings. The last one of which, if I had to have a favourite character in this show, that would go to the one, the only Patrick. Because I don't even know if sometimes he was trying to be funny, but just like the way that Will as Patrick Watt was through the entire show just hilarious. Like sometimes when it was like the dance moments, like in Act 2 there is a party, and the way that Will as Patrick dances through that song is just like pure geek that shouldn't be where he is kind of dancing. It was just brilliant. And the way that he kind of came on and off, I think in Act 1, during the scene in his house on a like moving wheelie chair, just like perfect. Can you tell I really enjoyed that character? Final 2 mentions that I wanted to give. Firstly, to the character of Dr. Bowman. Dr. Bowman is played by the one, the only Rachel John. I love, as a actress and human being, I am a massive Rachel John fan, and when I saw her name in the programme I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot she was in this. I do wish, I understand why there wasn't more, but I do wish there was more Rachel John in it. She has one moment in Act 2 where she sings a song alongside Rebecca, The Name of a World to Save, and I would have happily listened to that duo sing about 4 more because it was just beautiful. But yeah, I do wish there was a bit more Rachel on stage, but that is just personal preference and not a story critique. Moving on to the one, the only Rebecca. Just mentioned her name because she sings with Rachel as Dr. Bowman in Act 2, but that is not the only time she sings, and the character Rebecca is a brilliant one. She speaks her mind, she stands up for what's right, she is just an amazing human being kind of character, plus the vocals that come from Asher Parker Wallace. Literally in the interval I text my friend who was also seeing this production and I was like, my goodness, can she sing? What pipes she has. Insane talent and vocals, and I was just like, the amount of times she just went ah, and I went ah internally, because I'm silent the moment that the lights go down. But what a talent. And I believe from looking at the cast pictures and the information that this is one of Ash's first shows out of training. I am going to be looking for her in other things and seeing what she does in the future, because the amount of times my jaw was on the floor was something. I am so glad that I saw this show before it closed. Like I said, it closes on the 1st of November. Hopefully this video goes up before then. Fingers crossed. I do hope it does have another life, either it be in Birmingham still or somewhere else a bit further afield. I have been saying this for a few other productions over the years that I've seen at the Rep, Becoming Nancy and What's New Pussycat, just to name a few. Yeah, there are so many shows that over the years I've fallen slightly in love with and enjoyed at the Rep, and it just makes me really sad when they don't have a future life and not as many people get to enjoy the joy that I experienced. But hey ho, as is life in musical theatre, we have instead a multitude of not so great shows. I'm not going to name them. I'm not going to be petty. I just think that everyone could enjoy a bit of 80s cheesy fun excellence, or Becoming Nancy, or What's New Jessica. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's round out this video. We've made it. Congratulations. Like I said, I do hope it gets another run sometime in the future, because it was a fun show. I enjoyed it. I would probably go back. But that is starter for 10. Done. Done, complete. The chat is over, which is good because I am parched right out. So before I go and get myself a drink, let's finish this video and say thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you come back for more theatre-based content coming up. If you enjoyed it, tell your friends. Why not? All that's left to say is the usual, which is this: so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen and adieu. Bye. That felt wrong. Bye.